everyone. Hey, congratulations on your new film, The Weekend.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More of a congratulations. It's being showcased at Tribeca this year, one of the most prestigious film festivals around the world. And how do you folks feel about that?
As I'm speechless. that should tell you. You know, it's been a very surreal experience, to be very sincere with you, because I remember the producer, you know, when I came on board the project, he kept saying, we're going to put this film out for festivals. We feel that this film has potentials to be selected for, you know, a prestigious film festival. And I was the skeptic, to be very sincere. I was like, festival? Like, nah, man, we're not going. But at the same time, I felt like it could make like a midnight section or a fortnight section. I just felt if we do it right, maybe it could make one of those fortnight sections or midnight sections. So when the producer calls me, like, he called me in March and he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just doing some domestic stuff. He said, can we have a conversation? I said, yeah. And he started reading me an email from Tribeca. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? And it's like, the film got picked for Tribeca. And I was just speechless, you know. And I couldn't comprehend it. And I would say this, like, I think probably is when I get to Tribeca, when I watch it on the big screen at Tribeca, that I'll be able to comprehend how I feel, because there's still a part of me that feels like this is all a dream, that it's just some weird dream that is going to go away. You know what I mean? But I feel it's for me, it's been a long time coming. I've been making films, small budget, Nollywood kind of structured films for over 10 years. And, you know, at the 10-year mark, you're getting selected for a festival like Tribeca. It just, for me, it's all beautiful, positive emotions. I'm just riding the wave of this right now.
Wow. Well, what about for the rest of you for Tribeca? Nothing. Huh?
Oh, I was no. I was waiting for Uzoamaka to go, but listen. So I feel like Daniel summed it up. But in my words, I am grateful. You know, I wake up every day and I just look at the write-ups and I read the letters, you know, because we did this film in 2022 and the script was ready 5 years or so ago, you know, and having to be selected by one of the biggest film festivals in the world, you know, that's it's it's a plaque. It's a plaque for me. That's how I see it. So it's my plaque. That's how I feel. Thank you very much.
I was about it, and to just read about it and to see Tribeca announce it on their website. I've been refreshing the website over and over again, just looking at our sitting there pretty. It's amazing. It's just an amazing feeling. I'm just beyond happy. I'm so thankful to be a part of an impactful story. A story that means something and is doing something. And when the director said to me, "You're international," I thought, oh God, I need to frame this. I have to frame it. It just felt really good. I still feel good. Always will feel good to be a part of this.
I know, especially since because I remember you from the movie Mommy Wada, and that was at another prestigious film festival. So this is a great follow-up film for you. So that's terrific. So so Daniel, tell us where the original story came from for The Weekend.
Okay, so original story, the producer had told me, you know, he had somebody who claimed there was a community in some part of the country that still practiced cannibalism. And he felt that was a very interesting subject to explore. And, you know, they started working on it. But this took a very long time in terms of, I think they went developing that narrative for over 5 years. And they had a different director attached to the project, you know. for a while, like 2 years, then they had creative differences, and I was brought into the script, into the picture. And when I came into the picture, the script had gone extensive, in terms of ambition and scale. And I felt at the time, based on the fact that we already had a very limited, the studio was eager to make the film because they had spent so many years in development, 7 years in prep, and they just wanted to make the film. And when I came on board, there was no time, or they didn't have that reasonable time to, invest in prep again and redevelopment. So I first and foremost put my foot down and said I couldn't work with the script that was already ready. And the producer was kind to refer me back to the original first draft that was ever, And I liked that. It was very small, it was very contained. And I just liked the idea of, a family kind of unit and dysfunctional family and everything very contained. And why I was more drawn to it is, so films like Hereditary, Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby, contained spaces, families in their houses dealing with the dynamics. Those are very beautiful films to watch. So I wanted to make that film. I wanted to make The Weeknd, or rather, I made The Weeknd with those films as my primary references. But another thing I was very particular about, which we didn't really explore, was the believability of the cannibalism aspect. So very early on, I started looking for folktale narratives that explored cannibalism from where I come from Nigeria, so to speak. And interestingly, I stumbled on a book that was written in the early 20th century by an English writer, and it was a collection of folk stories from the southern Nigeria. And one of the stories spoke about cannibalism, and how it was tied to a New Yam festival. And I just found it fascinating. So that became like the hinge for me to believe in the story, that, okay, so there's a folktale that hinges on the fact that there was a community, and they had this festival, and during the course of this festival, they get to kill off their slaves and eat their bodies. And I just found it very fascinating. So that became the hinge. That became the hinge for the horror. But for the relationship dynamics of the couple and the evolution they go through during the course of the film, that was something I felt was poetic and sad. And I needed to equally balance that thrill of the folktale with this relationship dynamics. So that's how I came on board and how I executed it.
Most excellent. So how did the rest of you came on board? I mean, what actually drew you that you want to be a part of this film?
I, for one, I, for one, was automatically interested in working on the project because of the director. I'd watched his film Sylvia, and I'd looked forward to working with him. I was also looking forward to working with the production house. And so when I auditioned and got the part, I was very excited. And I read the story, and I was very surprised by the cannibal part of the story. But then we got on set, and I was happy with the way the director wanted it to go. Subtlety being a big part of subtlety being a big part of how he wanted it to go. Because I remember the director saying to me once, you have to be comfortable in not doing anything, and think about what the character is thinking about. Just like be there. Don't worry about what the camera sees. Trust that it will see it. Yes. And it helps me a lot because the story sort of relies a lot on what you're doing, not what you're saying, how you're behaving in a scene, and all of these things. And so when the director said that to me, I sort of just trusted that I was okay in doing nothing as long as I was processing. Oh yes, processing was the word that he kept using. Process what's going on, believe what's going on, think about what's going on. And it was just amazing going through that with him and with the entire team. Obviously, playing alongside the Bucci Franklin, it was amazing. I really thoroughly, I'm the actor that I am because of the people that I play alongside, and he's, I think, by far the best one.
Bucci?
Thank you very much, Uzoamaka. Girl, right back at you. Listen. So yeah. Like I said, the script that I was introduced to was in French, and I did my audition in French and English, and I was excited about it because the producer told me a little bit about the story, and I was just pumped. Oh, cannibalism! Oh, there's gonna be blood. Oh, this is not your, typical Nigerian film. And yeah, and I did my audition, and the rest is history. Uh, what was a surprise for me, because at the time they had a director that was going to do it. What was a surprise for me, and more so a gift, was meeting Daniel and the extra that he brought on this project. You know, as an actor, you're being given a script. For me, I'm being given a script and I know what to do. I fall in love with my character. I fall in love with the story. I fall in love with the right people in the story. And I do my part 100. And I mind my business. But Daniel is different, so he cares. Like Uzumaka was saying, he cares. He genuinely cares about the art, about the human in the art. Because what we do is make believe, but you need this to be able to create. So he cares about you as an actor, and so for me that goes beyond performance. It goes beyond creating characters. It helps a lot. I tell people that care to listen, what we do. If you don't have love, you're not going to be on this platform. You're not going to be having a conversation with Gig. You're not going to be picked by Tribeca or seen around the world. You need to have love, and Daniel is a lover of the art, so it was pretty easy to be, to enjoy playing Luke. So he made it really easy for me. Thankfully, out of all the beautiful women that were called for this project, they went for the best. The best. I'm not saying it because she's here. She is phenomenal. Gig, you can attest to that. You've seen Mami Water, so, and this is a second project that is, going global. So Uzomaka made it very easy to listen. I said it earlier on. I want part two of this. Let's make it a series, not because of the story alone, but the people, the director, Uzomaka, my parents, Gloria Young, Kepi Ekpenyong, Damilola, the albino guy, the chaps at the Brutus and
Right.
Bombastic, everybody, Brian Bombastic, everybody on the project. Even if it was just one line they had, they killed it. So it was just it's a blessing to be a part of this project, man. Listen, Gig, if you don't stop me, I'll keep going. I'll keep going.
No, you're on a roll. Well, let me throw
Thank
this
you.
question back to Daniel. Daniel, one of the things about doing like horror thrillers, something like this, especially on an independent budget, is off-screen violence. Where basically we know something happens, but it's off screen. So tell us about drawing out the talent out of your actors to show the true horrors without really, displaying the gore. Is that a challenge?
It wasn't necessarily a challenge, because like I said, and in one of the other interviews, I was always challenged in my early days as a director how to communicate with an actor, what to say to get the right performance from them. And I've always been an actor's director, in the sense that, yeah, that's just who I am. I've always been drawn to performance. So for this particular film, there were two keywords I just kept using: restraint and subtlety. In terms of performance, just think about it, just process it. So I use that phrase a lot. Just process it. And like for the first day on which I equally mentioned to another reporter, was the first day on set. She was doing her final scene, which was the close-up of her driving off. And she kept asking, "What do you want from me this is not supposed to be my first scene. And I'm like, you've read the script, right? She said, yes. And I was like, just drive the car. And as you drive the car, just think about everything about your character, what your character has gone through in the film. The camera would capture every emotion. Don't worry about it. So I think primarily for me, I always wanted them to be very comfortable. I wanted the actors to be very comfortable. So I go beyond, just giving direction. I want to be like involved in their lives. I want to know more about them. I want them to trust me with being vulnerable. So I try to be vulnerable as well. But another main reason I held on to keeping the violence away and letting these actors communicate the violence to us was because I wasn't necessarily confident that even with what we had done for the violence, that it could sustain the thrill of the film for audiences. So rather than, show them something and it's not really great, maybe it's like 70s grindhouse in 2024, which might cost more of a laugh than, a gasp. You know what I mean? I didn't want that to be the intended outcome. So I knew very early on that we have to keep the horror away and let the audience, conceive it in their head, because, subconsciously we have all watched one or two or several horror movies with grisly scenes. So let our subconsciousness play that horror for us. And that would sustain, the fright and thrill that I was anticipating for the film. So I'm very happy, like, when people get the fact that that's what I was doing. And I'm even more delighted that the actors were able to convey it so convincingly, and it's been getting a lot of commendation from people. So yeah, for me, it was intentional to keep it that way.
Well said. Well said. It's always a contribution from everyone. So let me wrap it up with one last question, because of course, this film is all about cannibalism, and as the audience, I felt like I could almost taste it to the screen as you're eating chunks. And just for fun, did the idea of cannibalism ever got into your head, and you, like, after filming, you're like, you know what, I think I'm just gonna have a salad now?
For me, oh no. For me, I was so thrilled making this film. It's really weird. Maybe the fact that you're on set and you know where the meat is coming from, and you just know the preparation behind all that, so it doesn't move you per se. I was actually a bit concerned that they didn't look believable enough. So yeah, I felt they didn't look believable enough. So this is something we did. We the production designer and we decided that we were going to paint the meat, and give it a distinct color, just to distinct it from, it's red, but it's a distinct shade of red, just to give it a bit of a distinction, as you would see meat being chopped or something like that. So I felt like maybe if we do that, audiences would really believe it more. And it's just, I don't feel anything when I watch it. I eat meat a lot. I know, not beef per se, but I prefer
Okay.
protein. Yeah, but
You gotta clear it up, bro. You see, you eat meat,
yes.
gotta clear it up.
But not beef, more of poultry, chicken, stuff like that. So for me, I was unfazed. I was just excited to make the film, a bit anxious and worried that it wasn't believable enough, but I'm so happy that, people are getting it, and, they find it repulsive. So yeah, we did.
I personally wasn't bothered about it, but after filming, I did ponder upon the fact that there are real human beings in the world who consider this normal, who eat human beings, and it's their version of just how to exist, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just thinking about that drove me nuts to an extent. And I thought, oh my but filming it didn't feel, no, I wasn't, but it was great filming. It was great watching Bucci eat the meat.
Of course it was. I mean, it was exciting for me. And now that I know that I ingested color into my system, thank you very much, Daniel. Anyway, I mean,
No, it
I
was
mean,
food coloring. It was food
it
coloring,
was,
trust me.
no, of course I know, man. Come on. So, it was fun for me all the way, and like I said, I'm hoping that the studios will decide to make this, a series or turn it into a sequel or something. It was a beautiful experience, and I can't wait to do it again.
Well said. Everyone, thank you very much for carrying this conversation about the weekend. Enjoy Tribeca. It's going to be a wonderful film festival. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Gig.
Gigi.